Welcome back to the Holy Shiftball podcast, where we help you turn that what, Sharon?
That shit into a shift.
Awesome, girl. Awesome. Well, what happened with our guest today?
Our guest today is actually a friend of ours and a colleague and a mentor, and he ended up in the hospital with a small hole in his stomach. So the universe has really been playing games with us for the last, what we're putting out, I don't know, because about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I went away and I had technical issues while I was away, so I couldn't do the show. Then the next week I had technical issues again while I was away and couldn't do the show. And the guest said, I'll come back when you're both here. Then we had one show, successful show. And then we had another guest who couldn't connect, had connectivity issues. So last week we had to do the show. And now this week our guest ends up in the hospital. So what are we putting out there? What's going on, Bethany? What do you think is happening?
It's interesting. And I would love for anybody that's viewing that might come across this at any point. Are you seeing this in your reality? Are you seeing it in your world? Are you seeing like wonky, wacky, unbelievable stuff happening with your technology, with your computer systems, with your phones? Because I know for me, Miss Sharon, this has been an absolute beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. Insert curse word there.
Yeah. And a long list of them because, when I would go receive an email, girl, I'd go, click the email and I received the information in it. And I would go, to do something else on another screen. Come back, girl. And the email in which I just viewed has disappeared from my device, from my everywhere.
Or on the conversely, I've created emails and a bunch of emails for our guests who were coming up for the rest of our consciousness series. Went to send the email this morning. Gone. Not there. It's been created. It's in the drafts folder. No, apparently it's not. So it's like, holy smokes.
Yeah. So I would love to hear back from anyone that are you seeing this? Is this becoming something that's in your life, in your world, and seeing what we get? That'd be interesting for sure.
Our host says we're causing a cosmic storm. Maybe. Well, it could be in anybody's area of life. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's virtual or, to do with electronics. It could be, missed appointments. Okay, one person thinks it's at 10, the other one thinks it's at 10:15 or 10:30 or 11 or whatever. And so the timing isn't right. For whatever reason, things just don't jive. And so it'd be interesting to see how our viewers are experiencing this in real time as well.
Yeah. And, it was interesting. I was doing some research this week and, everything on this realm, everything on the 3D planet, it's either growing or dying. And I found that so interesting because, when I take a look at it from that perspective, I think of trees, the trees, the roots, they're the further their, roots go, they're able to expand out and they're growing. But, how amazing would it be if trees were keepers of ancient frequencies and, some might even go to say ancient knowledge? What would you say to that, Sharon?
We do have a communication system. And okay, so so clearly you're talking about the correlation between a tree's growth and our growth as humans. So the nature of a tree is both gravitrophic and phototrophic. So gravitrophic means that it grows away from the light and towards gravity. Phototrophic means that it grows away from gravity but towards the light. So when you plant a seed, the first thing that happens is the seed grows roots down.
Sprouts
away from the light. So it's growing down into the earth and it's experiencing resistance and it's dark and it's damp and it's difficult for these little wee roots that are first appearing to move through the earth and establish itself. So, but what happens is by doing that, by establishing the roots and building a foundation, a base, the tree can now push its way up through the soil. And again, there's resistance there as it's coming up through the soil and coming out into the light and being able to use photosynthesis to grow and thrive. And so it's interesting correlation, because with us, like let's use you for an example. When you were creating Be Limitless, it was a lot of hours on your own, doing your own thing, creating, hitting walls, and then, having a breakthrough and all of those things. And no one sees that. But now they see you hosting events. Now they see you doing a podcast. Now they see you doing healings on others. And that's the Bethany that has grown through, established a foundation by doing all the hard inner work, and then was able to grow up and grow out and expand and become expansive because of the work you put in to establish your foundation. So,
and that's so interesting.
Are very and we have consciousness. Trees have definitely consciousness.
I was talking to someone very special to me, and we were having a conversation about relationships. And, it's interesting because before you can have any kind of relationship, not only with yourself, with others, but with yourself, you have to have that foundation, that level, so when the weight is applied upon the structure, you're able to hold it through the foundation, through the ground. And I find that so interesting because, when this whole thing after my son's passing, I was able to go out into nature, and I went and found my foundation. And I know people that are probably going to hear this is going to be like, that girl has what? But I found my foundation through the forest, through the trees, through the animals, where I was able to allow to sit with myself and feel everything and be able to connect with God's creation, the trees, the soil, the ground, through the sun, through the light. And I was able to absorb that into my body and be able to transform through that resistance, where I was able to gain my roots. And so I could be able to have that foundation, that platform where I'm able to go out and shift people's lives and change just like I have. And it's just pretty amazing when you step out of your boxes and you go out and you plant your feet and get out into nature, how much transformation you will witness and feel within yourself.
Absolutely. And that's our challenge. Is people, become so discouraged because they have a challenge, or something seems insurmountable. And it shouldn't be discouraged, because that's where real growth occurs. That's growth right there. You have to either figure out a way through it. If you figure out a way around it, you can do that, but then that leaves, you haven't dealt with the situation. If you're just going around it, you need to figure out how to get through it and deal with it. And then you can move on. That's your foundation for moving on to the next step, which is something even bigger and greater.
I can remember most of my teenage and childhood life. I was, I ran from the problem. I didn't want to face it. I was just going, not ever paying any attention to it. But, after the death of Cabin, there was no running. There was no, where was I going to go? This was going to be something that I have every day. And so, when you have these life-changing, altering problems, circumstances that come into your life, it's that time to really step into yourself.
Absolutely. And it's the same, similar to me with cancer. It came back 4 times before I got the friggin' memo. And then I had 2 other times where it was supposed to be back, and I rejected that reality. But like you say, it puts something in your path that, okay, I can't ignore this anymore. Now I have to stop. I have to slow down. I have to look at everything. You have to do a whole life evaluation at that point. And because we get gentle nudges, and then we get a smack in the back of the head, and then we get one upside the head. And then it's like, boom, solar plexus, you are down. That's it.
When you have one of those life-changing moments in your life, There's no running, no nothing you can do but
Cool.
to face yourself and look in the mirror and absolutely make a choice what it is I'm choosing for myself. How do I want to feel about this? How to, observing the thought patterns that come in. And I know that for me, the thought patterns were the one thing that could have really spun me out if I was not willing to take a look at the pattern and say, okay, uh, I can't do this anymore. This is not beneficial neither to me and to the people that were within my life. So, at what point, how bad does it have to be? Till you start to take that conscious effort to look at your thought, your mental processes, and really observe them, evaluate them,
Mhm.
question everything.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like, the
Mhm.
best thing is to be a toddler right now. You know what I mean? Why?
Yep. Just
Why?
yeah,
Why?
get a question and be
How
happy.
come?
Yeah.
What for?
Yeah. How
Is it
come?
true?
What do you
Why?
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
But and to get in touch with yourself too, like for centuries, monks and from all traditions, like whether it be Orthodox, Christianity, Buddhism, they wake up at 4 a.m. And that's not about being disciplined for the sake of discipline. That is about growth. So the earth or the veil is thinnest between 4 and 6 a.m. 4 and 5 a.m. It's much thinner because lots of people get up between 5 and 6. But between 4 and 6 a.m., if you get up and it's a time of power because you can connect internally with your consciousness and with the consciousness of those around you. The rest of the world is asleep, so there's not a lot of that collective mental noise out there. The field is clear. You can access the field, and without all the energetic interference. And
Oh,
so, when we get up in the morning, cortisol rises, and that's and so you don't get up, you don't make coffee, you don't do anything. You just wake up and let yourself meditate. And that's when the consciousness is still suspended between sleep and wakefulness, and that's the magic. That's where the magic happens. And whatever you plant at that time goes much deeper. It's a lot more effective than doing it during the day once the collective wakes up and there's all of that
well, if
energetic
you think about
noise
it
out there.
if you think about it, when you first get out of your waking state, you're
Mhm.
still in theta
Yes.
brainwave, and so theta brainwave is the same waveform as hypnosis. Therefore, it really you can, shift things at a much, manifestations at a much faster rate in that
Yeah.
way. So yeah, but, you know I sometimes I just don't like to wake up at 4 a.m., even though I have for the past 2 nights. I like to sleep until the sun comes up, and then, something I have found to be very beneficial, and I was talking this to my class last night about, the color spectrums and when they come in on the sunrise or the sunset, you're getting
Yes.
so many different hues of light through that
Mhm.
spectrum at that time that your eyes
Mhm.
are able to absolutely heal. I mean, and it's so interesting that, red light therapy is now such a big, medical healing tool. But, once again, wonder why we weren't taught any of this in schools, Sharon.
Well, because it gives us our power back. Red light therapy is based on energy, and it's a cohesive energy or it's a type of energy that's very cohesive with our bodies and our cells. It's very healing, and it's very positive. So yeah, we don't need a lot of the medical, traditional medical approaches if we have red light therapy because they're even doing it now. I was just at a conference about a month ago, and there were some people there talking about this actually, and they are testing it with cancer patients, helping them heal faster, heal with less side effects, and they really believe that certain frequencies of red light therapy can actually heal cancer, which is absolutely phenomenal. And of course, a place very close to my heart. So I'm I'm going to deep dive into that to
You
see
know,
how
I'm
we
so
can.
totally excited to see the upcoming technologies that are coming out for the
Mhm.
medical industry and how, people are starting to really understand and gain the awareness around how big, because like, everything on this planet is energy, frequency, and vibration. To be able to
Absolutely.
heal the body through a frequency. And so just like, Raymond Rife, Royal Raymond Rife, he came out with the Spooky 2, which is spooky action at a distance. And he was able to like chart. And I've actually got several of the devices that you can chart. Everything has a frequency, every kind of, plant, essential, everything. And
Mhm,
I have a whole data book of just where these products, where these things, where these items, these, where they vibrate at. And
mhm,
you're able to take a clipping of your own DNA, your fingernails, and put them into this machine. And then you send a program. You select what frequencies, what, medicines. There's all kinds of stuff in the database that you
mhm.
can send to that nail clipping. And the nail clipping, because of quantum entanglement, the
Absolutely,
nail
yes.
clipping will receive that frequency and it will automatically entrain to your body, and the body will receive it. And you don't have to take, ingest all of the well, shit in all these medicines that really aren't doing anything for the body, but you're receiving the frequency, and so therefore you're able to still absorb that in. And it's just, I've healed myself, I've healed my dog, I've done so many things, and I'm excited to see where this technology goes.
Absolutely, and quantum entanglement, now that they're really proving quantum entanglement, that is spirituality. That's what the spiritualists have believed for centuries and been, "Oh, people are, oh, that doesn't make sense. That's not a thing. It's not true. It's not right." No, it absolutely is. So going in and really tapping into your inner being, to your energy, affects everything around you, and you're entangled with people like your family members, your friends, people you might have met at Walmart. Like it's crazy how the energy field works. And like, how many times have you thought of someone and all of a sudden they're texting you or calling you? That's quantum entanglement.
Mhm.
And we know a person who lives in Spain. He's on the other side of the world, and I'll be thinking about him, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a message. And because we're working on some projects together, and it's just incredible. But that's quantum entanglement. That's our energy becoming engaged with others, and we don't even realize how far our reach, our energy, actually reaches and spans. It's
It's
concept.
interesting. I kind of had I don't even know, um, a squabble, I guess you could say,
Uh-oh.
with somebody on social media yesterday. It was interesting. I
Ooh.
had placed out some pretty interesting, data points in which I have done the research on. And just to give you a little backdrop, they were asking who Q was, and I've got I've got documents for all of my everything that I can back up, I can show, I can share. And so
Mhm.
I asked them to share their research with me, and they just, of course, just absolutely imploded on me, "I'm so wrong, I'm so dumb, da, 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 da." And I was like, this is classic that, people are able to regurgitate, information without even being having the emotional intelligence to just not to say that I'm right and you're wrong, but hey, have an open mind to
Right.
say look at the data, look at the information, so you can look at it and you can make a choice on informed information, and it's not about being right or wrong at
No,
all.
but their position comes from a place of fear.
But
Because if
it's
what you're
very
saying is true, that blows their version of reality right out of the water. They don't know how to react. They don't know how to respond. They don't know how to. Now, what does that mean? If they embrace that knowledge, then it shakes the very foundation that they've created for their life. So until people are, until they've had that holy shift balls moment and they are ready to take a look at everything in their life, most people won't embrace that and change.
well, I just hope, well, with everything that's going on in the world today, at what point I hope that people that run across this video and any of our upcoming
Mhm.
videos that if you don't agree with the information, that's
That's
fine.
okay.
That's fine. But to jump in somebody's chat and make them wrong and
Yeah.
spew out just complete ridiculousness without having the research to back up what you're saying,
Mhm.
you know, it just absolutely is, mind-boggling
It's
that
weird. It's weird.
adults can act that way and then call themselves intelligent. It's like, wow, okay, okay.
And that's okay. We all have our different version of a reality, and that's what the observer effect is like, right? So consciousness split itself into billions of different iterations. So we are all an individualized iteration of consciousness experiencing life. So the consciousness can experience that through us, right? So this is one belief system, and it happens to be mine. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. You do you. But so that's like the observer effect, so that you and I, we're doing this podcast together. We're having the same experience. However, we will experience it in our own reality differently because we're individuals. And that's why some people can, be at the same baseball game or the same hockey game or be at the school play or just be out having a walk in nature with someone else. And they'll have two completely different versions of that experience because they're individuals experiencing it through their own lens.
Mhm.
It's an interesting concept.
Sharon, how are you able with everything that's going on in the world, how are you
Mhm.
able to regulate your nervous system?
I meditate. That's what I do. I'm not a 4 a.m.er yet, of course.
Why?
6 a.m., sure. 4, that's still a little dicey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, Sharon,
And how are you able to do it, Bethany? How are you able to regulate your nervous system?
Lord, the list is long but distinguished. You know, for me,
Host says he does it through alcohol.
yeah, who does?
No, Ron. Ron
Oh,
says he does it through alcohol.
for me, I I get present. I get into my
Mhm.
body, and many people will be like, "Bethany, what does that even mean? You're in the body?" No, to be present of everything that I'm, seeing, hearing, sensing, smelling, gathering, receiving. I said that, but also for me, one of my biggest things, Sharon, is I go and I put my feet on the ground
Mhm.
and I get out and I just allow the sun's energy to flow to me and through me. And I just soak up, absorb the frequencies that are already in. And I know people will be like, well, that's strange. Well, it's interesting that we all have souls on our, feet. So that for me, I have found to really regulate, calm down when I'm in fight or flight.
Yes. Grounding.
Yep.
And it's finally nice enough here in central Canada that we can go out and ground now, just in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, I don't think the ground's completely thawed yet, but we can still go out and put our feet in the grass. And the trees are starting to get some green on them, so that's exciting. It means a growth, a new season, and a new opportunity. New opportunities are here.
Yep. Well, I'm looking forward to everything that's coming into my season this year. It feels like things are shaking, evolving, spinning, turning. What's going on? What's been your holy shift ball moment? We haven't done that in a
Oh my
while.
goodness. Oh, goodness gracious. What's yours? Tell me yours, because I've got to think about that. I haven't thought about it for
For me,
I know. Okay, yep.
For
Mhm.
me, my holy shift ball was, have to be last night. Have to be last night. Um, I hosted and I ran an event. Usually I do it with my colleague, and it was all on my shoulders last night, and it was, had a 35 people in it, and did a bunch of energy clearing awarenesses. I did an activation, and the responses in which the people were receiving, absolutely just amazing, amazing. One lady, she felt like she was going to get sick, and Sharon, when we do energy clearings, if you burp, fart, all of this stuff, because we're moving the
Energy,
molecule,
baby.
we're
Mhm.
moving the molecules within your body being or in reality. So, it's pretty interesting how it all works, and so to hear the people really enjoy and receive the clearings, and I was just so grateful that they showed up to be that change, not only for themselves, but as you and I know, Sharon, when they go out into the collective, that energy, that ripple effect, then there, changes other people's
Yes.
realities, their energies,
Mhm.
their fields. And
Yep.
so by them showing up last night, they freed up so many hundreds of thousands of people.
Absolutely.
Just, when you look at it from that, and I'm just beyond grateful that I do and get to spend time with these people, and of course you and all of the things that we do.
My holy shift ball moment this week, and that's beautiful. And one thing that surprised me, you said actually, well, about your holy shift ball moment was that you said, "Wow, I realize I can do this." Oh fuck! I've been watching. Whoops! Oh heck! I've been watching you do. Sorry, Ron. I've been watching you do it for a year now,
Years.
and
We
stepping into your
No,
own.
it's been longer than that.
Well,
3
a
years.
year where you've really been
Yeah.
hosting and doing things like that, and going on all these forums and participating in all these different 3-day events and things like that, and providing healing and talking about grief and growth. And it's been really amazing to witness. And I'm very, very, very blessed and I feel so excited for you.
Ugh.
And I also feel very blessed that I get to witness you doing this. And it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
I feel the same way about you because, as you're stepping into your new branch and creating your new space of healing, what you're bringing to people through cancer awareness and shifting their realities and consciousness around it. Right now on planet, that is huge because I know for me, I know several people that are been told about cancer, and your what's shifted and changed your whole life. I think it would be such an asset for anyone that's going through that to have a conversation with you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. My holy ship ball moment this week was a surprise birthday party that my family had for me on Saturday night. So there was family and friends. There was about 50 people, and I was absolutely shocked. I had literally no idea.
Yeah.
And they, it was the love was unreal, and just so blessed, so grateful, so I mean, I was so shocked that it was happening. There was a quiz because we always play games and have prize games. And one of the questions was, what kind of car do you drive? I wrote down the wrong kind of car because it was like, I couldn't believe all this was happening. And
Wow.
yeah. And what's your favorite band? I don't know. And then I heard somebody, as they were going through the quiz, say it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Actually, that is my favorite band. AC/DC is my favorite band. And, just things like that. Like I was just so in the moment and filled with gratitude and love for everybody there that I couldn't think of what any,
Muscle.
yeah, muzzle top. I know. So my brother and sister-in-law bought me a cake that said "Happy Bar Mitzvah, Frank." Because my family has a wonderful sense of humor, so it was
Yes.
a lot of fun. Yeah, so yeah, that was really, really good, and the cake was delicious. Oh my gosh,
Well, Sharon, you know what, babes? It's about that time
it
for
is.
us. And you know what, girl? Who do we have on the show? I think we have
We
next
have
week.
Tammy Vincent next week.
Mhm.
Fingers crossed, if the planets align and everything goes well, we'll have Tammy Vincent next week. We're going to talk about the hidden power of attention, the one thing that's quietly shaping your entire life, like your subconscious power of attention. So that'll be fun, and it takes us in a whole different way than, yeah, still consciousness, but it's where your energy goes, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So
Yep.
it'll be a great conversation.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you next Thursday and spending time with Tammy. So,
Mhm.
if this episode, like, share, follow, do all the things, push all the buttons,
Push
leave us
all the
a comment.
buttons. Get us out there.
Yes. And we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. And Sharon,
Yes.
remember, hey girl, when life kicks you in the balls, be sure to tune in to your Holy Shiftball podcast.
Where we help you turn that shit into a shift.
See you next Thursday.
Bye-bye.